In this video, we're going to be talking about Sony hearing aids. They're the hearing aids that I'm wearing right now. Some of their designs fit deep inside the ear canal and are nearly invisible in most ears. Ever since they rolled out in 2022, Sony has been one of the most popular over-the-counter hearing aids available. It's also been the most popular product at Soundly.com over the last several months. In this video, we're going to take a deep dive into each of the 3 models of Sony's products and talk about which one might be right for you. We'll go into the pros, the cons, the features of each one. So if that sounds interesting, stick around. If we haven't met yet, my name is Blake Cadwell. I'm the co-founder at Soundly.com. Soundly.com is dedicated to all things hearing health. We're one of the leading independent sellers of over-the-counter hearing aids, and we also publish in-depth reviews like this one. If you find this video helpful, give us a thumbs up below and subscribe to the channel. With that, let's get into it. All right, so here in the studio, I have all 3 of Sony's over-the-counter hearing aids. There's an earbud style, an invisible, rechargeable style, which is the one that I'm wearing now, and then one with disposable batteries. I'm gonna talk you through each one in depth and talk about which ones we think are the best for which particular cases. But before I do that, let me give you a little bit of background on where Sony hearing aids come from. Obviously, they come from Sony, the brand, but Sony themselves do not manufacture hearing aids. Instead, they partner with a company called WS Audiology, which is one of the leading manufacturers of hearing aids in the world. That company also makes in-clinic products like Signia and Rexton hearing aids. What this means is that Sony hearing aids are really specialized in their category. That of course shows up in how they process sound, like sudden sound, background noise situations. We find that Sony hearing aids are really mature in those cases. But it also impacts how these hearing aids fit in the ear. In general, because of the backing of WS Audiology, we find that these hearing aids are really comfortable. As with all over-the-counter hearing aids, Sony devices are best for mild to moderate hearing loss. If you haven't taken a test, you can head over to Soundly.com and take our test, and it'll give you a quick sense if you're in the mild, moderate, or maybe severe category. If you're in the severe or profound category, we recommend that you go into a local clinic and work with an audiologist. But if you're somewhere in that mild, moderate category, these Sony devices should be able to give you enough volume and clarity to really help you hear your best. All right, so let's dig into each of these products one by one. We're going to start with the lowest price product, which is the Sony CRE C10. As you'll see, the Sony C10 is an invisible style device. It sits all the way inside the ear canal. If I turn my head to the side, you're barely going to know it's there. In most ear canals, this one really just disappears. It was the first invisible style hearing aid that Sony released on the market, now followed by the later generation C20, which we'll talk about in just a moment. A couple of design notes on the Sony CRE C10. It does have a disposable battery, which means that you'll need to change out the battery every 4 to 5 days if you're wearing this product full time. You simply open up the battery door to stop the battery from running or to stop the hearing aids from amplifying sound. And we did a full review of the C10 and the setup process, which we'll link somewhere up here. The key thing to know is that the C10, like all of Sony's hearing aids, is programmed using a smartphone app. You'll download that app, you'll take an onboard test with these hearing aids in your ear, you'll hear beeps in each ear, you'll respond, and ultimately your responses will program these devices. In general, we found that the sound quality of C10 was pretty good, managed sudden sounds really nicely, and it did an okay job in background noise. That said, C10 is a solid hearing aid, but it's clearly one generation older. The sound processing is a little bit less advanced than what you'll find in C20, and of course you'll have to change the disposable batteries every few days. Now some users actually prefer changing batteries themselves versus rechargeable batteries because they like the convenience of changing the battery whenever they want instead of having to remember to put them back in the charger every night. If that's you, the C10 might be a good option. Importantly, C10 is also the lowest priced product on the Sony range at just $799 per pair. It's really impressive for a product that's made by WS Audiology, and its sister products in clinic could cost several $1,000s. Okay, let's move on to C20. This is the rechargeable sister product to C10. Again, it sits deep inside the ear canal. I find it sits a little bit deeper even than the C10 did. If I turn to the side, you'll barely be able to see that in my ear, if at all. It has a little plastic tab on it, which is how I pull it out of my ear when I want to take it out at the end of the day. Now, I've spent several weeks wearing the C20, and I find that the sound quality is incredibly good. That's because they've updated the sound processing and the chip on board these devices. They've also, of course, added a rechargeable battery. It comes with this recharge case, and each time you charge up your hearing aids, you'll get 28 hours of battery life. So you're really never going to run out of battery during a day if you remember to charge them at night. Another cool C20 feature is that these hearing aids are IP68 rated, which means that you could technically put them underwater for 30 minutes and they would be just fine. We wouldn't recommend doing that, but in general, these are really durable, really high quality hearing aids. Again, the underlying technology here is similar to what you'd find in a clinic, but it's self-fit by you using the Sony smartphone app. C20 is $9.99 for a pair, which is really impressive based on the fact that it's the similar technology to what you would find in clinic, usually for several $1,000s. If you can swing the price difference between C10 and C20 and you're okay with the idea of rechargeable batteries, which most folks are, I would definitely recommend stepping up into this product. Our customers at Soundly.com have really enjoyed this one so far. It's one of the best performing products that we have on the site. All right, last but definitely not least, let's talk about the Sony CRE E10. This is an earbud style device. I'll put it in so you can take a look at what this looks like in my ear. It really just looks like a modern headphone. It's definitely visible, but it doesn't look anything like a traditional hearing aid that you might imagine. Now the C10 and the C20, which we've talked about already, are great hearing aids at amplifying the outside world and interacting with a smartphone app to customize to your hearing loss. But they're missing one major feature, and that is Bluetooth streaming. If you're an iPhone user and you want to be able to stream phone calls, stream media, podcasts, music, the Sony CRE E10 might be the device that you're looking for. Not only does this device look like an earbud, but it actually has the built-in functionality to stream from an iPhone. Now, notably, if you have an Android phone, you can use any of the products on the Sony line, but you will not be able to actually stream to E10. So the main advantage to E10 really goes away if you're an Android user. If you're an iPhone user, you'll be able to stream. Android users will not be able to stream at this time. Like this smaller C20, E10 is also rechargeable, comes with this recharge case. It just simply drops in there. You give it a full charge, you'll get more than a full day of battery, even if you're streaming music, phone calls. You really shouldn't run out of battery with this device. The other important thing to note about E10, as compared to C20 and C10, is that it has 2 microphones on board. Now, as I mentioned, the C20 has really great sound quality, but it does not have 2 microphones on board. What the 2 microphones do is they give the hearing aids more ability to focus directionally, and they actually give you the ability to set that directionality using the smartphone app. So if you get E10, as opposed to C10 and C20, there's a section of the app where you can actually change the directional focus of the microphones. For some folks, this is really important, especially when you're dining out and you just want to hear right what's in front of you, or maybe you're driving and you really want to hear just what's on your right or your left. It's a great feature that E10 has built in. I just wanted to consider as you're thinking about the full range of Sony products. Just like C20, E10 also has an IP68 rating, which means you can get these hearing aids wet and you shouldn't have any issues with their durability. At the time of this recording, Sony CRE E10 is $100 more than C20 at $1,099. All right, so now you've seen all 3 products from Sony, the earbud style E10, the budget option C10, and the invisible and rechargeable device C20. It really comes down to what your priorities are. If you're less interested in music streaming or you're an Android user, I would probably recommend going with the C20. I find it's really comfortable in the ear. I love how invisible it is, and it has really great sound with the latest chip from Sony. If you are interested in streaming and you have an iPhone, E10 could be a really great option as an earbud hearing aid crossover. If you're on a budget or you really like the idea of changing disposable batteries whenever you'd like, I'd recommend taking a look at the Sony C10. I hope this video has been helpful. If you have questions about Sony's hearing aids or really any other hearing aids on the market, head over to Soundly.com. We're happy to answer your questions. You can also subscribe to this channel where we'll keep you updated on all the latest in hearing technology. Thanks for your time, and we wish you the best in your research.